Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Janet Crescent. I'm filling in this week for Justin Riley. Our first guest today has graced the walls of Camp Randall, the Monona Terrace, the Kohl Center, and thousands of homes across Wisconsin. With me, I have John DeVries of Hallman Lindsay Paint, Wisconsin's very own Hallman Lindsay Paints.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining me today. We should clarify, it's not your face, it's your paint that's gracing the walls, correct?
Absolutely, and that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. You guys are homegrown. People don't have to go very far to find you. You're right here in Dane County, correct?
That's correct. Everything is manufactured right out in Sun Prairie. I work in a store over in Middleton, but we do have 5 stores here in the Madison metropolitan area.
That's a really interesting thing. At first, when I think paint store, I think of just selling paint. But the key thing is that you're manufacturing it, and that's really neat, and you've been around for so long. I know I've heard of you. I actually go to your store on the Watts Road over by Woodman's West, but there's a lot of folks that maybe haven't, and why do you think that is?
It's interesting you mentioned that. Despite the fact that we've been manufacturing paint here in Wisconsin for almost 60 years now, there's still a lot of homeowners that haven't quite found out who we are or heard our story yet. Most of our sales are actually deal with professional painters and contractors, and just within the last 10 years or so, we've really gotten into the homeowner market and the do-it-yourself market.
Like me.
Yeah.
And you guys have been around, let's see, since 1956, starting out on Main Street. So what's the secret to success? That's quite a while.
You know, it hasn't been the easiest of roads, but surviving for almost 60 years now, you really have to stick to your core values. One thing that we really hold true to is our expertise. You know, with the average tenure of our employees at our stores here in the Dane County area being over 10 years, we see quite a bit. And one thing that's nice too is, with contractors, is we really have a good pulse on what's popular out in the market as far as color tones and things like that. And with that level of expertise, there's not much we haven't seen. So any type of problem you might have, we're really able to help navigate through those problems and navigate through your projects as well.
I suppose if your experience has been with businesses for all this time, you've got a lot of bugs worked out and can help us smaller folks now, perhaps. And I was looking at your core values, and I was really surprised by what I saw. I thought it would be more in the lines of expertise and knowing your stuff. It was also things like humility and respect and things like that for each other, for your customers, and I liked that. That was very nice. So you've been around quite a while. What's new? What's exciting in the paint world?
Sure. Well, it's an ever-changing industry. There's no doubt about that.
I don't think of that as that case.
Yeah.
Tell me what.
Yeah, well, it's not as simple as just you put a coat of paint on the walls. Color trends are constantly changing and constantly evolving. So one thing that we've been focusing on here the last few years is really starting to staff our stores with people that really know quite a bit about color. So as a homeowner, when you do come in, we're able to have staff at all of our stores that can help navigate through colors. Whether you're trying to find a new color for your kitchen, your living room, we all have these open concept homes now, so how do we get one color that's going to work great in the living room, to the dining room, into the kitchen, and so forth. So bringing in the color consulting staffs that we have, we're really able to help navigate these home projects.
Oh, there's a lot of people that could probably use that kind of help. I know when I bought my house, I painted the entire interior, and I had a friend that said, don't go all white. Be brave and try some colors. So probably go to you folks for some guidance. So a lot of folks are doing outdoor painting projects. Is it outdoor stuff or mostly indoor?
The vast majority of our products, if you take a look at the gallon count, is mostly interior, but we do have a very robust exterior product line as well. So.
Okay. If people have summer painting projects, indoor or outdoor, maybe just the indoor, what are your tips for that?
The main thing with exterior projects is really get a good understanding of what you're trying to tackle. Now, the biggest problem we have is they just think, well, painting is just putting a coat of paint on the wall, but actually it's a little more involved than that. So understanding what surface prep needs to happen and making sure everything is done in the right order can make the difference between a painting project that lasts 10 to 15 years versus one that in a year to 2 years you have to come back and redo. And
no one wants to redo that.
It's not as much fun the second time as it is the first. So.
Great. Well, we're about out of time. How do folks find you if they want to come get some help on color coordination or a summer painting project?
Sure, absolutely. Again, I mentioned before, we do have multiple locations in Madison. I'm based out of our Middleton location. We have another one, West Madison. We're on East Washington Avenue. We're We're down in Monona, and then our factory store right out in Sun Prairie.
Lots of places to check them out. John DeVries is with Hallman Lindsay Paints. You can find him in Middleton. Thanks again, John. When we come back, we'll get some tips in the area of personal finance. We'll be right back. We've heard the terms fee-based planning, fee-only planning, commission-based planning. Here to set us straight in the financial planning world, I have with me Simon Legal of Capital Lakes Financial. Thanks for joining me today, Simon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So before you talk about those terms and what they really mean, kind of help us understand them, let's start with just the broader world of financial planning and who really needs one. I think of maybe people that have a lot of money to manage. Is that true?
Sure, that can be the reason people look initially is to help with investable assets, but there's a whole host of reasons people can meet with a financial planner. Major life changes like divorce or sometimes estate planning can be a good reason. If you want to plan for college, it's a really good one. Retirement planning is huge. Everybody wants to know whether or not they need to plan for retirement, when to start, how much money do they need. All those are good reasons, but we encourage everybody to use a fee-based planner as opposed to a commission-based planner if they're going to do that.
Okay, so let's go to that. Fee-based versus commission-based.
Sure. Well, there's two main types in the financial planning world. The first is fee-based, and that is what it is. The advisor or the planner is paid for their advice, and it's an upfront flat fee. Typically, it's paid in a one-time sum, or it can be ongoing.
Like an annual fee or a monthly?
Yep.
Okay.
It's transparent to the client. They know what services are being provided prior to entering into any contract. The other side of the spectrum is what's called a commission-based advisor. Now, they are paid a commission based on a product that they sell. So sometimes we see commissions that are larger on certain products. They tend to get recommended a little bit more than commissions that are smaller. So people have to be really wary when they're using a commission-based advisor as opposed to a fee-based advisor.
Sure, I can see how that could bring into question some conflict of interest
It certainly can.
and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I love the idea of the transparency. I'm sure most people do. No one wants to feel like they don't understand what.
Yeah, we transitioned to be an independent fee-based office about 4 years ago, and will be one for the rest of my life, I think. So.
I think I've understood too that when you do pay a fee, that depending on your income can be a tax.
Yep, it can be a tax advantage. You can write it off on your taxes, typically on the federal and state side.
Sure.
Sometimes.
All right. So getting down to simplicity, is there one thing that we should all be thinking about that we could benefit from financially, whether we're a lot of investable assets or not?
Sure. One thing that we're huge proponents of that we believe any person can benefit from is a Roth type investment. Roth means you have tax-free return on your investment from the time you deposit money into it. Now you can use a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k. That might be something old news that some of the people have already heard about, but a lot of people don't know you can convert old IRAs or old 401ks or 403bs into Roth type vehicles and create tax-free return on that money going forward. Anytime you do have a conversion, there could be taxes, there could be fees, there could be a commission if you're using a commission-based advisor. So do your homework, find a qualified investor, but a Roth-type vehicle is a great thing that people can use.
Sure, and I know that I did that. I did a conversion as well, and the hope is that you'll be in a higher tax bracket later.
That's exactly right.
All right. Speaking of retirement and that kind of thing, I think I know the answer, but when does a person start planning and thinking about that?
So a good time to start planning for retirement is when you believe you know what your life is going to look like for the rest of it. You know what type of standard of living you want. You know what your expenses are typically going to be. That's the most important part with retirement planning.
Your expenses?
Is itemizing your expenses. That's the most homework that people have. You need to put together itemized numbers of utilities, insurance payments, what your mortgage might be, how many cars you're going to plan on buying. Do you have gasoline? Do you have maintenance? All those things need to be figured out. Our office typically does the inflation for people. Once you have the expenses dialed in, you need to look at income sources like Social Security, if you have a pension, if you might have rental property. All those things need to be fed together. Once we know what the expenses and income are on, we can project assets out, help you understand what rate of return you need to earn to fill in all the holes.
That does sound like a lot of work, but it's definitely important.
It is. The
Yeah.
sooner you start, the more successful you'll be.
Absolutely. We're almost out of time. Is there a real quick risk that we should all be thinking about?
We believe long-term care, the cost of long-term care in this country is the greatest risk to anybody's financial future. So a nursing home in the state of Wisconsin costs $87,000 annually. Plan in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, not in your 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Well, we are out of time. It goes fast,
Yeah, it
Simon.
does.
Thank you so much. I wish we had more. There's
Okay.
so many important things to talk about. Check out Simon Legal. Again, this is Capital Lakes Financial. We'll be right back with more Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. If getting a fresh new look for your bathroom has been on your to-do list for a while, you'll want to meet our next guest. With me, I have Lisa Schmidt. She's with Rebath of Central Wisconsin. Thanks for coming in today, Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is the kind of thing where people think about it and they talk about it, and a lot of people just don't get around to it. Let's start by talking about what Rebath does.
Sure. Well, Rebath pretty much is a full-service bathroom remodeler. We do everything from brand new construction in a basement to complete tear-outs down to the studs, but mostly what we tend to do is a lot of tub replacements, walk-in tubs, massage tubs, which everybody loves,
Yeah.
as well as, looking at, going to tub to shower conversions. A lot of people are looking more at staying in the home, aging in the home. We do a lot of low threshold showers as well as barrier-free and safety products as well.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
That's more than just tubs.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what makes you different and unique, I guess?
One thing that really stands out about Rebath is our product. It is called Durabath SSP, and it is manufactured actually by Rebath. You will not find any other product like it on the market. It is a step up above any acrylic product that you'll ever find. And with that, manufacturing it ourselves, they offer an absolutely awesome warranty, which is a lifetime warranty on the parts.
What's
and
so great
labor.
about it? What's different?
It is 100% non-porous, and so it's not going to mold, it's not going to mildew, it's not going to stain. People with hard water are the ones who really, really love it.
I was just reading online somewhere that we spend approximately 70 minutes in the bathroom every day, and who wants to spend that time cleaning? So
Oh,
it sounds like that
absolutely.
might eliminate a little bit of extra time in the bathroom.
Right.
Let's talk about colors and options, because it sounds like there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, the nice thing is you're not just stuck with your plain whites or your, almond colors, anything like that. We actually offer over a dozen different colors, and with those colors, you're able to put them and design them into any one of our simulated tile patterns from, oh my gosh, if you want it to look like mosaic tiles or subway tiles, standard 12-inch, all the way up to like a large, 12 by 24 tile. It's pretty much limitless on if you like a color, you can like a tile pattern, mix and match them, and we'll put what you want in there.
Wow. I was looking at some of the photos that you have online, and it's very impressive, the variety, and I like that. So
It is, yeah, absolutely.
That's great. They offer some options. And who does the installation for this?
We actually have our own installation crew. They are fully trained. They know the product inside and out. They know how to, if they get into any kind of tricky situation, exactly how to put it in and take it out, which is why that lifetime warranty is not only on the product, but the labor as well, because those guys know what they're doing and we believe in them a lot, and they are not subcontracted out. They are our employees.
That's nice, because then you know that they really know the product.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned a lifetime warranty?
Yep, we have a lifetime warranty on all that Durabath SSP products, tubs, shower bases. You can't beat it. You really can't.
So what would happen that someone would maybe need that warranty for? Are you talking about
it's
staining or
staining,
cracking?
staining, cracking, any kind of buckling, anything at all that you might have a problem with. You shoot us a call, we set up a service call, and we take care of any of those problems.
Wow, that's some nice insurance.
Yeah.
So how do folks get started? You do free in-home consultations.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. We have basically you would give us a call and we'd ask for a little bit of information over the phone, such as obviously your name, address, because we want to know where we're going, and a little bit about what you want done. And then we would actually have one of our sales consultants, which might be me.
I was just going to say, now you do this too.
Yep, there's a few of us. And we come right to your home and we sit right down with you and show you all the different products, colors, samples, and look at your bathroom and talk about what we can do and customize a package right for what you're looking for to meet your needs. And most of the time we're able to give you a price right there and then to the penny at the home. It's no pressure, no high pressure sales techniques at all.
Great. Well, Lisa's an owner and a consultant?
Yep.
Okay, that can come in and give you a hand on freshening up the look in your bathroom. Thanks for joining me today,
Yeah,
Lisa. This is
thank
Rebath
you.
of Central Wisconsin. Well, school bells will be ringing soon, and it is not too early to ease your kids into a back-to-school routine. We have some really great tips coming up next, right after this. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Summertime for kids usually means later mornings, later bedtimes, lack of routine, but with school doors opening anytime soon now, a little bit of routine is probably necessary. And with us, we have our guest who's going to help us come up with some ideas and tips on getting those routines started for school. Thank you for joining me. This is Vicki McCarthy from the Madison Community Montessori School.
Hi.
Long name.
Yes, thanks for having me this morning.
You bet. So school is just around the corner, and how do families get started in establishing those much needed routines?
I know. The thing is, it happens so fast. You know, summer just goes by so quickly, and all of a sudden school's here before you know it. So the very first thing to do is just keep in mind the calendar, because there aren't a lot of days left before school starts, and there are likely back-to-school paperwork forms that need to be filled out and completed and submitted, doctor's appointments that need to be squeezed in yet, and school shopping that needs to be done. So there's a lot to do in preparation for school, and there's not a lot of time to do it. So you just want to be watchful of the calendar.
You're right. I hadn't even thought about, obviously I don't have kids, but yeah, all those other little prep things aside from getting a new routine started.
Right.
So getting into the children themselves, how can we help them be ready while we still have some time?
Right. So the first thing to do, like you were talking about a little bit earlier at the start of the show, is just getting them, making sure they get enough sleep. So oftentimes they're sleeping in the summer days, and then they're maybe lounging around in their pajamas in the morning. And so it's really great to start now while we have a couple of weeks yet, and start their morning routine, you know, just maybe having them wake up 10 or 15 minutes earlier every day until you get to that targeted wake up time for the school day rhythm. And now you can also practice having them get dressed and eat breakfast right away when they wake up, instead of taking that sort of long, leisurely approach to the day. And then on the flip side, you want to do the same thing with the evening routine. You want to start looking at their bedtime and making sure that they're getting enough sleep for a long day at school. It's a lot of work for them once they're in school, and their brains are so busy at working. They're working so hard, so you want to make sure they're getting enough sleep. And it's easier to adjust bedtimes by 10 or 15 minutes a night than to do it all in one fell swoop the night before school starts.
Yeah, doing it in a gradual manner makes more sense
Right.
instead of this abrupt change. But once it's set, boy, that's going to make a big difference, isn't it?
Sleep is so important for kids, so
It
it is
is.
really an important piece.
And getting to bed a little earlier is going to help those early mornings too.
It's true.
And we are losing daylight. That might help get to bed a little bit earlier. What else can parents do to help their kids prepare?
Right. Well, I think really if you just think about fostering your child's growing sense of independence, that's the best place to start. And so if you're looking at a preschooler who's about to head off to school for the first time, there are a couple of things that you might want to start doing. You want to look at the clothing that you've chosen for your child, and then have him select his outfit for the day that's something that he can really put on and take off by himself, in case there's an accident or some mud and dirt that he gets into on the playground, or some paint or something. You want to make sure that he's really able to change his clothes on his own when he's at school. The second thing is you want to make sure that they're walking into school on their own, which will really reinforce his growing sense of independence. And carrying his own backpack and lunchbox when he's going to school is another really important thing to do. And that also helps him learn that he's responsible for those things. And then another thing just to keep in mind is when you're packing lunches together, you want to make sure that everything is packed in a container that he can open on his own when he's at school. Again, trying to reinforce his growing sense of independence and really allowing him to be able to do all of those things once he gets to school on his own. It'll make him feel really good.
Those are all really great tips. I love that idea of fostering a little bit of independence starting out young. That's
Right.
that's something that's going to help them for the rest of their lives
Right.
and
It's
get
true.
them off to a good start. So those are the little ones. What
Right.
about our teens and tweens?
Right. So if you have an older child, definitely by the time a child is starting first grade, you want them to actually be packing their lunch on their own. So she's going to be really able to make all of those choices and pack her lunch on her own. And the benefit of that is not only the independence of doing that task on her own, but then also once she's at school, we find that children who've packed their own lunches eat their own lunches.
Oh,
And
interesting.
food is so important when they're working so hard during the school day. They need to make sure that they're getting a well-balanced meal. And so if they're packing their own lunch, that tends to happen, that they eat their full lunch.
That's another skill we'll need the rest of our lives.
True. It's true. So packing their own lunch, and an older child, you want to start encouraging them to use a planner. So upper elementary, certainly by middle school, they want to be using a planner for school. And then when an elementary child is coming home with that backpack, and it's usually filled with that important paperwork from school or permission slips, or maybe the child just needs a place to do homework, that you want to have a spot designated in your home for those things, the backpack, the important paperwork, and a place for him to do his homework, so that it's all really structured and built into his routine.
Boy, the more structure you can get, some routine, boy, that takes the stress out for not just the child, but the parents as
Right.
well, and the
It's
whole
true.
household. I'm afraid we're out of time.
Okay.
So much good stuff to talk about. Those were all really great tips and suggestions. Thank you. This is Vicki McCarthy. You're the head of school over at Madison Community Montessori, one of our news partners. Thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all of our guests for coming in. And thank you for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you next time on the CW57.